Part of the reason I started this YouTube channel about 2 years ago was I was on a mission to find what is the actual best driver's car you can get. What car creates the best experience for the person behind the wheel? And I don't know everything, but here is a list of all the cars we've been able to drive and review so far on this channel. Quite a bit of experience with a lot of different car manufacturers, but the 911 GT3 Touring, this is a 2023. I picked this thing up yesterday, and guys, this car is so far ahead of everything else. This is now the reason I'm gonna wake up every morning and work hard to afford this. Now, what I've noticed is the average person in the population wants to click on videos and watch videos on cars like a Hellcat or a C7 Corvette. A car like this is just so undervalued, so underappreciated, that I think all of the attention that these American muscle cars get needs to be converted into a car like this. I don't even know where to start. Let's do a full tour. We're obviously gonna take this thing for a drive. We're gonna look at the interior. I'm gonna show you and tell you and give you the feeling behind the camera of why this truly is the best car I have ever experienced. Now, it's worth noting, this is a 2023 Porsche 911 GT3 Touring. The Touring part is just such a tasteful spec with the 911 GT3. I'm gonna cover what the differences are between just a GT3 and a Touring in a moment, but I do wanna say that if you're looking to get this car in the used market, you're looking at a starting price of around $250,000. But given what this car is, if there is any car I would maybe potentially bet on maintaining or increasing value, I'd have a pretty decent confidence level in the GT3 Touring. Now, what I always thought was pretty interesting about 911s in general, whether it's a Carrera, Turbo, GT3, any spec, is that these cars, 911s, have such a beautiful body design that Porsche does not want to mess up how this car looks. So depending on each new generation and each new spec or different spec that you get, the changes are so subtle, but just perfect for any enthusiast to spot what the car is if you know what you're looking for. First and foremost, I look for these dual vents right on the hood to tell if I'm looking at a GT3. That is a telltale sign you're looking at a GT3. The RSs obviously are just crazily modified. I think anyone can tell when they're looking at a GT3 RS. And the turbos, obviously you have the big vent right on the side of the car, and the Carreras are a bit more plain, but not in a bad way. All 911s are just beautiful. Maybe except for the 996, but up to your own taste. Now let's go ahead and start with the front wheel setup here, which if you couldn't tell, are absolutely massive, guys. These are 21-inch wheels. And when you look at this thing, same thing for the back end, which I'll show you in a second, there is just so much more space occupying in the wheel well than there is car, even in the back end. This probably has one of the most exaggerated wheel well styles I have ever seen on any car. And to go with that are these absolutely beautiful goldish, bronzish wheels that are just so fitting for this midnight purple paint. Additionally, you do have the option to get carbon ceramics. These are not carbon ceramics. Carbon ceramics are going to add an additional like $10,000 to $15,000 as you're speccing this car out. But these do the job. I do have a bit to say about these brakes though, because they feel weird. I'll explain more in a second. And then moving along to the back, again, you can just see how much space out of the whole like height of the car that the wheel occupies. That is just insane. But again, it looks so good. I'm not saying it's bad. I've never seen something with so much wheel space over car space, but it is perfect. Now in the back here, this has 315s for the tire width. This is a rear wheel drive car, and we'll explain the power numbers and weight in a second, but I'm glad this has 315s because this thing is so insanely fast. Now moving along to the back end of this car, this is one of the most neat parts about the 911 GT3 Touring. Not only because this is where the engine is, but this is partially where the GT3 Touring comes into play. First, to cover the engine, this is a naturally aspirated flat 6 4-liter engine. Guys, Porsche just does something right with the absolute racing note that these cars produce. And I'll just say, we'll experience that when we go for a drive. And to go with that is an active exhaust setup. So whether you are trying to, be a little bit more tame as you're driving out of the neighborhood, and once you get to those back roads, throw this thing in track or sport and just hear that 9,000 RPM engine absolutely scream. This is partially why I've been waiting so long to review a GT3, because what other cars rev to 9,000? Almost nothing. Now, to elaborate a little bit on what makes the touring from the back end is the fact that a regular GT3 has an absolutely massive rear spoiler that makes the car look a whole lot more flashy. The touring deletes that big wing and puts an active spoiler right here. This whole thing, you can raise and lower it, or it'll automatically raise or lower depending on how you're driving and what your speed is. And it gives it such a distinct, clean look from the back end. Also, I have to cover the fact that the subtle touches are so nice. I love this big strip of a rear taillight here. Makes it look a lot more modern and futuristic. That was probably one of the most bold changes Porsche did to their 911s in recent years. And then also you just have that nice chrome GT3 touring badge right in the back. So perfect. And this probably isn't very surprising, but definitely worth noting about this car is that it does have carbon fiber mirrors and a carbon fiber roof, which are just, again, nice, subtle touches. This is not really a flashy car. Like, you could choose a Lamborghini Huracan over this. A new Huracan is going to be right at the same price range as this, but the reason you get this car is because you're spending money for yourself. You're spending money because you want to have the ultimate driving experience. And yeah, more on that in just a second when we go for a drive. And with that being said, guys, this could not come quick enough. The time to hop inside of here and go for a drive. I have quite a lot to say about both the interior and obviously the driving experience, which is the point of this car. Okay, it's a very hot day, so I'm gonna get this thing started up right away to get the AC going a little bit. Door can be a little bit picky for some reason, and the owner said that this glass has broken on him like 5 or 6 times. So supposedly this is a very fragile window. If you do break it, it's around $3,000 to replace. So definitely, if you're going to be closing your door or you have your wife getting out of the car, stereotypical, they're known for slamming the door. Just make sure no one, including yourself, slams the door of the 911 GT3 Touring. You don't want to break the window. Okay, now guys, this is a simple interior. Very, very classy though, and that is what I love about Porsche. It is simple, it is all the necessities, it is not overly engineered, overly designed, it's not complicated, it's everything you need in an easy to use manner. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and, by the way, before I initiate the infotainment screen, this actually has a mode where you can transfer all of the vehicle's functions and data straight to Porsche themselves and selected partner companies, or you can be in private mode and not have all of that data transmitted. So I don't know what exactly happens if you do transmit that data to Porsche and the partner companies, but I'd prefer not to. Now, right away, I do want to note that you have your drive mode selector right here. So you have normal, sport, and track. And if you are in sport or track, that does open up the exhaust valves. You can see all of the different adjustments live on the infotainment screen as you switch between the different drive modes. And if you are in a certain setting, normal, sport, or track, you can adjust what you want in here. So if you want your chassis in track or sport mode, auto start stop, I think that is a weird function to have in a car like this. I would turn that off, honestly. You can extend the rear spoiler, which, by the way, actually, let me show you what that looks like when it is raised. Nice little animation showing you that it is being raised. Top out, take a quick look, and there she is, giving it a bit more of a sporty, nice look. So if you do get the Touring, but you do like a spoiler on your car, you don't like that super sleek back end, then you can just raise that active and or adjustable spoiler in the rear. Additionally, you have that active exhaust system, whether you want it quiet or loud. You have auto rev match / auto blip. I'm honestly not going to have that on. And then your drive mode, you can select it in here. Or do it all through the infotainment screen by clicking this button, going into track or sport, and then adjusting it in that screen inside of the gauge cluster here. So it's simple, it's clean, it's nice. The buttons all feel so good. Just a black interior with those nice yellow touches. Look at that, even the gears are in yellow as indicated on the gear shifter here, which by the way, oh my gosh, I've driven probably 10 different manual cars at this point, and let's turn that parking brake off. This is the best feeling shifter I have ever felt. A nice firm clutch as well. Say the brake pedal is very firm. I would argue actually a little bit too firm, but we'll talk about that once we do get on the brakes. Let's get moving here. We are in, we're in sport mode, active exhaust on, spoiler extended, chassis and track, good to go. All right, guys, right when you start moving in this car, it just feels great. There's subtle things, subtle engineering things done to this car that makes it stand out and make it worth the $250,000 starting price. First of all, a double wishbone front suspension to make those tires more connected with the road as you go over bumps. It even has rear wheel steering and squeaky brakes too. Sorry, 1 second. I love this car, guys. I'll talk more about the speed and all that in a second. Just want to cover, let's put that front lift up, which yes, this thing has a front lift. In case you are going over a bumpy section like this, want to be very careful. Front vehicle front raised, it'll let you know. And then once you go over about 35, 40 miles an hour, it will automatically lower back down. So very, very nice touch. Additionally, it has rear wheel steering. So if you are going at slow speeds and turning, the rear wheels will turn in the opposite direction as the front wheels to allow a better turning radius. And at higher speeds, the rear wheels will subtly turn in the same direction as the front wheels to allow for a better cornering experience. It was a little bit scary, honestly, you know, taking a fat turn at a high speed with a rear engine car, but it's Porsche, guys. It's what it's built for. Oh my gosh, you just want this thing to live in the higher RPMs. Oh, squeaky brakes. These are not the carbon ceramics, yet they still squeak, which is a little strange. But they feel very, very solid. They feel like true race car brakes, guys. I mean, once you push that brake pedal in about an inch, you now have to start applying what feels like maybe 80 or 100 pounds of pressure on that brake pedal to get this car to stop. So that takes some getting used to if you haven't experienced brakes like this has before, because it feels like the car just can't stop. But then you really start smashing the brake pedal. It gives you good feedback, and yes, the more you smash it, the harder it stops. It can stop on a dime if you need it to. The sound of the engine can absolutely speak for itself, guys. What more do I need to say about that? V8s have their own sound, like the Lamborghini Huracan V10, which is an arguably decent competitor to this car, although you can't get the manual in a Lamborghini Huracan, so maybe it's not a competitor. But those have their own beautiful sounds. A flat six, a naturally aspirated flat six from Porsche, especially one that opens you up to 9,000 RPM, it gives you a sound, a race car sound, that no other car can even come close to. And it suits this car just perfectly. You have this tight manual transmission, 503 horsepower, 347 pound-feet of torque, which is not a lot, but that 503 horsepower is so quick, given this car weighs 3,247 pounds. Got ourselves a police officer in the other lane, guys. I keep my eye peeled, trust me. Especially when I'm in a car like this. Oh my gosh. No other car can match the sound this makes. But guys, in the GT3 in general, I mean, it's compact, it's lightweight. You don't have a whole bunch of leg room to move around. And it really just feels like the pinnacle of a luxury go-kart, if you will. Because I don't want to use the term go-kart. It sounds like it's like a ran down, cheap thing. It is the most refined, luxurious go-kart that you can possibly buy. I drove the Lotus Emira, and that Emira, yes. That was an amazing, amazing experience, and the owner of that car did describe it as like a really awesome go-kart. This just feels so much more engineered and refined and driver's focused than the Emira. Not that those cars are really close comparisons, but over every car I have ever experienced, the manual touring GT3, like I said, this is a reason to wake up and work my ass off every single day to own this car one day. Off we go. Yeah, look at that turning radius. That's the best I've ever seen in a car before. What a sound, guys. Oh my gosh. Running through this gears just does not get old. Let's go from first here. Speechless. Don't even know what to say. And nothing worse than being stuck at a traffic light in this car. This is where it does not want to be. Here we go. And as you would expect, guys, a very easy clutch and gear shifter to work with. Going off the line, no problem. This is just one of the best manuals I've ever been able to drive in my life. Back over the train tracks, so let's get to a lower speed, raise that front end. Very quick on the raise as well. Well guys, I hope I articulated the value of this car well enough to get you to want this, if you didn't already for whatever reason. I'm sure words and sounds and videos just can't do it justice. You have to shift this thing yourself. You have to feel the power yourself. You have to hear the 9,000 RPM in person and just feel the brakes, the clutch, everything is just perfect with this car. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you own this car, please share your thoughts on ownership of this thing. And ultimately, it's going to be very reliable as well. That's not even a debate. Love y'all. See you very, very soon in the next video. Peace out.